Welcome, everybody. It's the Crypto Sniper. Yep, back with you. Got news for you. Got news, got tidings. We'll be checking in on Monero in this live stream with you. Checking in on Monero, that case we had made for it some time ago, and how it's been doing and how things are. Further to which, we'll be checking in on TOTAL3, which excludes Ethereum, but has the rest of the alts, and why it's at a key point right now, and why you might think it's a bull market, but it don't feel so bull market. I'll be giving you a little bit of a technical take on the TOTAL3. We'll also have a look at some of those major tokens as well that we've referred to before, such as the usual suspects, and what's actually going on a little bit. And I think the chat on TOTAL3 will help you. Plus, the massive tailwind that should be seeing crypto do a lot better, but isn't, because money going in, gold, silver. Don't forget our other channel, The Market Sniper, if you're not already subscribed there, to catch up with our take. The dollar, right here, right in this moment. And I'm watching you guys over there. Thank you for your comments. Where you're checking in from and what's your most interested in token. Right now is being slaughtered, the dollar. The dollar is being slaughtered right here, right now. If you hit the like button and you give us a share, that helps with chase up the numbers, and it sees us do more live streams on the Market Sniper, where we get greater reward for that. We do more streams. We'd like to do more streams on crypto too, which means you get the intel and the info that we've been talking about inside the community a little earlier. Okay, so thanks for coming in. Hello from Busan. Hey, Sniper is here. Dmitry Sarov. Nice to have Dmitry. The Dutch libertarian is first out of the blocks. Okay, good to have you guys. Let's get into a bit of chart share and ensure that we actually share as usual. It's so easy for other people, not for the autistic. And yeah, sometimes I think I'm in that category. Let's avoid the tunneling. I will show you a couple of things to do with dollar and gold that are relevant for crypto. A couple of things to do with dollar and gold that are relative for crypto that we've just been pointing out to our community. And of course, a number of alerts have gone off on the weakening dollar, because I have alerts everywhere. I set tripwires. It's like Mission Impossible trying to run. There's beams everywhere. You will trip off a beam and I will be watching. And I will catch you. So this is indeed gold. That's the weekly on gold. That's the daily. Let's just remind you why this is important. It is an anti-fiat. We coined the phrase a long time ago, and we see it's catching on a little bit now. Hey, other people might have coined it for themselves without hearing it from us. Who knows? You don't own language, even when you combine it in a funny way. Come back, autofocus. I am not shape-shifting. Oh, the camera, it does it. It doesn't want to shine, even with lighting. Anyway, so you'll look at a fuzzy Francis for a bit. But anyway, this is moving onwards and upwards. And HVF Method gave us a target for this. HVF Method gave us a target for it. And it is, can't get that. Oh, we come back proper. That's so great. So good of the camera to play ball. Is 3,768. And I think there is potentially a chance that this happens just prior to the news with regards to rate cut tomorrow. Crypto people, this is important. You think the rest of the world doesn't matter? It matters. There's a rate cut decision tomorrow being made by the Fed, and everyone is expecting at minimum a 25 basis points cut, and some are even suggesting that the possibility exists for a further cut. This is in an inflationary environment, which has been grossly understated. Hyperstagflation is our economic framing of model. At the same time, which is also why your stock market's at an all-time high, because it's a massively debasing dollar. Don't forget, all those people that are claiming melt-ups on the stock market, you need to debase that in America by the 15% that it's lost to most currencies, most proper currencies, and even some. For example, that's 14.5 against the Hungarian forint, the Czechoslovak krona. You know, that's not 42% to the Russian ruble. So the dollar is dying. Crypto should be doing better, which tells you that crypto is not getting the love it should be, and that actually precious metals, the people with the money, are moving the market. Is this guy, gold. That is a very, very strong move you haven't seen the likes of on alts compared to this. And this is the great value of HVF Method. It has us put our money and our attention where it gets the best outcome. And That's a great outcome. We don't have many crystal perfect day-long setups on alts, but we'll be talking about one or two when we pivot to Monero. So let's finish with all the stuff not directly crypto as part of setting the scene before we jump into some of those cryptos, the TOTAL3, the Moneros, and everything else, because this is important, and it's important that you understand. So what else do we have, Dixie? So the dollar index is just smashing to new lows. We clean our face a little bit up there. Whoops, come back, just be bigger. That's it. That's what we want. Nice big picture. And the bottom callers on the dollar that have been a lot continue to get rinsed. People don't understand this is a far bigger cycle. It's an end of macro cycle on a much bigger scale. Lovely head and shoulders over here, by the way. You can see it. Perfect reversal. Down, 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 down. Head and shoulder. Down, log scale. You'll be out on those lows there. Down, down, down. And you rolled over and you are breaking. This is happening today. You're close to making a new low there. And I can tell you on yours truly, the Swiss franc, you are indeed doing exactly that. Now you might be going, what's that got to do with crypto? What's it got to do with crypto? The point I'm making is right now, you are seeing an epic loss in value in the chief fiat. The king of fiats is being slaughtered in his chair. He didn't even get a chance to sit up. They are absolutely a bit like what happened on that train with the Ukrainian girl. It's taking 3 stabs to the upper chest area and rolling up in fear. That is your dollar. That is your dollar. It is being randomly slaughtered. Only difference is this dollar deserves it. This dollar deserves it due to malfeasance. More head and shoulders here, by the way. Nice big rounded convex top. Very flat, squeezy, rising wedge structure. Spiller, absolute thriller all the way from can't hear you. All the way from you know where indeed. Down, and over and under. So we've also drawn the inverted macro HVF on the USD Swiss franc, and we've told you it's going to 0.63. When we said that, the dollar was more valuable. This was a 1.2 something. And we said 63. I think it was 1.2 or 1.1 something when we first started talking. It's a multi-year setup. When we first started talking, you can see at the highs here, you were actually at 103. Our funnel was the 94. You had an RH2 there. We'll show you this draw. This is the value of technical trading. That gets you on the right side of the markets. That is your funnel right there. And you came back up with return moves once, twice. You had 3 goes, and this is the spiller. And there's 5 stages to a breakout. You'll learn that when you come on board with the market sniper, the crypto sniper, or the reset sniper, however you choose, whichever gate you choose, you're welcome. You will learn there's 5 stages to a breakout, and the 3rd one is melt up or capitulation, depending on whether it's a downside or an upside. And this, I put it to you, is in capitulation stage. And the target generated by this is down at 0.63. If my memory serves me right, I haven't drawn it in a while. We come back here every now and then. Let's see if I've saved a draw on it. No, we'll draw it with a draw tool, and you will see all that we have said, and you will watch it come true. You will watch it come true as we have told you, he said. He's rhyming, he's doing it all. And you paused here at our 2nd interim level. You can see that purple level. You can see red candle, massive red candle, 3, 4, 5. You made it there. Then you get a green candle, red candle. Now you are making new lows. You are passing to new lows. USD, Swiss franc, that means dollar death. So the dollar is being slaughtered. And I want that as a setup for you to understand when we get into the crypto weeds as to why. And further, how much more will it be slaughtered? And there's the 63, which was pretty accurate to by memory. It's been a while, 63.22. Further down, it's at 79.8. You've got to remember that at one point, the dollar was mightier than the franc. Back in 2010, you were at somewhere between 115 and 125. Let's call it 117. You're at 117, and then the damage began. Today, you're at 78. That's against another flawed, failing fiat, by the way. So the anti-fiat trade to all Americans watching me now and all rest of the world watching me now is dump your fiat. If you're dumping your fiat for gold, you are voting down on your own fiat and giving an additional down vote on the dollar, the hegemon currency. If you're American, both those votes go on the dollar down vote. And that's what you're going to have. This is going to get disorderly. It is going to be a disorderly loss in the dollar. People that have tried to lead you to believe that you could lose 55% on your debt and there wouldn't be an associated loss on your fiat when the money is borrowed into existence with the debt instrument and the dollar and debt, USD, Treasury bill, T-bill, T-note. They fail together. You cannot climb the highest mountain and drop your leg down a mine shaft. You're either going up or you're going down. You can't separate the two. Okay, it is part of your anatomy. So with that said, let's go and talk about the Monero token, which is one we've discussed a little bit with you already. So maybe we'll do a YouTube over here. Let's go Monero, and we actually want the crypto sniper because that'll be me. And you will see that we have pointed out that there are macro setups that are building, and we were waiting for a little bit. So that's 4 months ago. Why we feel it is underappreciated. This is also 4 months ago. The war on privacy. Is Monero being framed? The ransom. The case for defense. We've mentioned Monero specifically a couple of times in here. So you can see there's been a fair amount of Monero coverage by us. We actually technically quite like it. We obviously like the idea of privacy, but you know, if it ain't like it's going up, we can't deal with that. So let's go and take a look and have at XMRUSD, let's go T, and get a nice big time frame token, and that is not it. So we'll go just the USD, and we'll show you what we've seen. So Kraken is it, and here we go, here we go, here we go. Now, there was nothing like the 2015 through to 2017 run. I'm going to just take that off because it's noise and messy. And I'm going to put that to one side for a moment. So there's nothing like that run in percentage terms. I'm afraid you may approach that, but I don't think you'll easily beat it. But you don't even need something that big to make out like a bandit on this one. And overall, our opinion is that this is a fabulous setup for greater upside in the not too distant future. I'm looking at your comments. BIS documentation, the revaluation of precious metals after January 2026. Treasuries backed by gold. No fear. Well, that's if they have it. We don't trust them. Get ready for a 20% crash after the FOMC announcement. I think he's referring to gold. I'd like to see our target made first before the announcement, because there might be a little bit of sell the rumor if they only do 25 basis points and the market's busy pricing in higher possibility of double. That's the setup on Monero that we are warning is going to serve you very, very well. We do need to do a little bit of doctoring. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but we've been talking about this. Also, when around about 4 months ago, when we started talking about it, we warned that you have also come up to a key target that could see you rest first and you will dip before you rise again. You will dip before you rise again. Where did that come from? It came from over here. So you sort of have a long grinding period here. You have that, and then you have finally this. You got a very strong triggering event. Then you got some smash down volatility here. So that's your right shoulder. You got all that. You came back and you revisited. But finally, you got your running shoes on and you smashed that target. That is a temporary target. We think that's your third high now being in on Monero. We do highlight, of course, that that is slightly higher than this, and that makes it imperfect. So you can see that. So we do prefer perfection That's what we strive for. So we trade our perfect tokens before, but this is pretty close. And for people who like the privacy theme, you might be reasonably happy to hold a bit, and who knows, might serve you in good stead in the crisis that will be coming following this. Looks like a flag pullback. You've also broken out. I will be dropping timeframes, and my suggestion is that third localized high completes the pattern. So we will now draw the pattern for you. We need to allow for that imperfection so that you too can understand why we're bullish in Monero and what does it mean? How far does she go? So I need to do a couple of things here. We need to get rid of a couple of candles. We'll stay on a 2 weekly. Let's go fortnightly here so we can get a bit more detail. So to us, this is a larger continuation pattern of the original inception of Monero. All the way from that first pump, you have essentially been in a continuation pattern since 2017, and now the day is coming. That's a long way, 2017, particularly in crypto years, which is dog years. You know, you're talking about 3 to 8 years, and you may as well multiply that by 7. You've probably been born and turned 56 in waiting for this one in crypto years. So how far does she go and what's happening now? Let's delve into that, because we will be dropping the time frames and giving you all the detail on this. This is the kind of stuff that we do, and we do updates on in our live trading days and in my daily updates with the community on what I think will work. Everyone is trained to a high standard to understand what I'm communicating, whether I do it verbally in a video like this, which is private for the community, voice messages, chart shares, and chat statements that are typed out. Let's draw this. So here you go. We have a high there. Help me with the number 51760. So we're going to just eliminate that high as an imperfection. This is a draw tool, by the way, 51760, which all those that have completed all the materials will get as use after doing a certain amount of manual draws, which is important. Polish on, polish off. Must do some polish on, polish off. Then, as you're no longer a white belt, you get a chance to do something a bit more interesting, and we give you the polish machine that allows you to polish your dojo head's house. Sandpaper and polish my house. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just channeling a bit of Karate Kid, inner Karate Kid for you, but it helps a lot for doing quick draws. 497.71. We continue to develop tools that help and think of ways and mechanisms to make people's life easier. So let's just see if we've done that correctly. There we go. It eventually jumped after giving me a little bit of a, I don't know, we don't care. Now, some of you are going to be astounded by this, but the call is right here. So here you go. The news headline. You came for this bit. Hit the like button. You're about to hear what you want to hear. The bit about Monero, how far she go? The man with the economic, low maintenance, efficient hairstyle is about to tell you how high it goes. It goes to 5,857. I bet you weren't expecting a number that juicy, were you? No, sir. No, sir. That is rather sizable, sir. Well, I like that idea, and I can see it playing a role in digital payments. And I think you will indeed have a decent shot on balance of probabilities, assuming the continued move into digitized money is going to occur as the dollar dies, which you are witnessing right now, which will eventually also see many other fiats be sucked down into the vortex with it. Cause, synchronized planet. Cause, we're all lepers in the leper colony. The main leper is so sick he's about to die, and he's passing on his sickness to us all. He's going to drag us down with him into hell, I say. Not me, but digital money will be returning and phoenixing and having some semi-private, because I don't know I'll ever go in and believe full privacy on anything on the interwebium, but certainly make it a bit harder for the everyday casual government employee and other parasites that are tracking your every move. I would say that's a very good move. How much is that in percentage terms from where we are? You should be shocked by the number. It will be shocking. There you go. To the target, that would represent 1,734%, which for simple people, which I typically consider myself to be, is 18x, 18.3x if you want a little more, which is very substantial. We're at 315, and I will show you why I think we're going to be working our way deeper into that funnel. It's quite a wide funnel, by the way. We're on the midpoint, and you're back at that key level. That was a target, which remains a key level. So you might need to wait for new drivers. This is not tomorrow. It's not next week. This is a positioning for an investment probably in Monero that will probably take a couple of years. By the way, it's 18.3x. What do you want? You want it yesterday? You want it tomorrow? Sorry, the world don't work like that. Okay, you're going to have to be patient to some degree. However, there's clear signs that the world, the Jupiter of the TradFi world, is collapsing into a black hole. And I've just shown you the dollar in terms of that versus other fiats and how it will drag some of them over and down with it, and all that is going on. By the way, Trump say Bitcoin, he'll pay the debt with Bitcoin and some other voodoo digital token things. I don't know who those creditors are that are going to be so willing to take that. I imagine more will say, I'll have some gold with that. But anyway, so that's the target. Let's have a look more lower time frame and point out some other interesting observations that we were making in our community in and around this particular point. And they went like this. Let's drop to the 4 hourly. So we were looking for the down leg after making this target. Let's just go back up to the daily and then we'll come back down. After making this target, we were actually looking for some down leg action. And here it came down. Note how it bounced and tried to rally here. That's very flag-esque. You see that. And projection down, you see that. And we were looking for a low to be put in. And as the market had been pretty sick, it did indeed do that. Now, what we got next is the first upside HVF in a new trend, which is bringing it back into the funnel. This is our larger funnel zone, by the way. That high and that low. So now you're going to be trading within this box. And our assertion is by the time you run that high to the upside, you will be a triggered upside setup with a move that ends 1,734% higher, which is the equivalent of 18.34x on whatever your money is. 1,000 becomes 18.3,000, as you probably all understand. So let's just talk about that first move off the low, which gives us some confidence that that low for that big structure is now in. It's the third one. We want 1, 2, 3. The fourth is your break. That is HVF method. We apply it to many moves. You will learn all about that when you click the link below and you go through and you have a chat with our beautiful onboarding team that never use high pressure sales techniques. Plus you get your 14-day return of funds if it's not what you think it is. And for this week only, I did it on Market Sniper. I'm going to offer the same for Crypto Sniper. 262 watching. We appreciate you all, every single one of you supporting the channel. I would like to think we would have a tiny bit more likes if we could in all of that. So if you want to say thank you for keeping you up to date on crypto, it's appreciated. We will give you a 45-minute chat. You have to pay for it. You have to pay for it. Sorry, I've got too many people who want to ask me questions and I'm not a financial advisor, but we have a lot of people that want to chat with Francia. I don't know why, but you know, I try to give the best value I can and they want to tell me personal things around their setup. So we say, hey, on a non-advisory basis, I'll have a chat with anyone. $14.75. Muchos dollars, 45 minutes. Now, I never cut the clock at 45 minutes, but I have to make sure I don't overrun an hour. And you can have a chat with me. And more importantly, for 10 days after that, that will go as a full credit to any product you buy if you elect to buy. It is non-refundable. There's no refundability on my time. I'm sorry, I'm getting older. So it's paid. It's spent money. Don't do it if you can't do it. It's okay. I'm not telling you should. I'm just saying people keep asking. I really have specific circumstances. What do you think I should do? Non-advisory, I can't tell you advice. I will tell you what I have done and be counsel in a gestalt fashion if you want to have that discussion. But it's not something that is advised. It's not something I intend to do often, and it'll be for this week only because lots of you have asked, and I let it be known on our one channel. I will let it be known on this one. So you can pay for a chat, and if you make any decisions after that, you will be credited it in full against any products you buy. And your sales consultant, I call an onboarding team because we don't sell, you buy, will help you. Anyway, so let's have a look at this structure that was at the low. It's an offer. That offer ends this Friday, but you can be booked into the next weeks for that call. So you don't have to have the call then. Taking up the offer has to happen then. So we'll note that following this low, you see that structure there, the setup, you know what I'm going to draw, you know how it looks, and you had a strong move off the lows. And let's get fatter Koki here. Let's get that line. So you had a stronger move, you get the more violent reaction, then you get a bit more of a calming period, bloated, and then you get the low volatility. If you learn anything from me for free, and I'm really happy that some people can learn something free from me, I'll take it as an achievement. Low volatility is your friend if ever you are an investor and or trader. Why? Because it gives you a possibility for a low risk entry with a tight stop level. Stop should go somewhere under there just to give you some extra. Again, it's not advice to trade. It's not counsel to trade. It's me talking about how I choose to trade openly that other people are free to use for themselves. If they so desire, go and speak to a traditional financial analyst if that's what you think you need. And that's what people recommend. It's up to you. I'm telling you what I do. And this is an upside HVF structure. And the benefit of that is you can size how much you lose for being wrong. And you can play the expansive move, which is significantly larger for being right. And you will be wrong. And on occasion, you will be right. But the gains on the moments of rights are higher by a number of R's, risk-reward ratio. We call it an R, that you make for every one you risk. You get how many, and that's kind of important. Note the significance of our legacy line. Now you've got a shooting star and pull back. You've now surged through it and you're getting another surge back. This is a great exit point and was a great exit point. We will draw it for you with the future tool that you may have were you a community member. And I can't stress enough, remember, non-advisory people cannot officially give you advice, and nothing we say should be taken as such. There we go, over there. That's not the one we want. And we'll go, okay, we have to do it like this. We'll go over there. So technically, you could have also got in a little sooner over here on the squeeze there. And you could have had a stop there. Now, if I do this on a risk-reward basis, you will see this target confluenced with the legacy key level of significance, but gave you a tiny bit more. A little bit of bonus, it said, but then you got to rest here again. So basically, it was telling you, this isn't going to run across the funnel and break out on the upside. That comes later with a bit more time. It is the first setup. Overperformance will eventually potentially come on balance of probabilities in our mind, according to our theory. But you will find you'll start to get resistance at that level, but you can get a little bit more selling on the highs. It always gets you out close to highs. People who use stop losses at exit strategies always get out on adverse price condition. It's by definition. You're bringing a line under the price behavior when you're long. You get crappy exits and your line of efficiency is poor. You get in here and you get out on the down leg there. Instead of having targets which are geometrically determined and getting out on a localized top, the gradient of the line reflects your P&L. You can stack steep lines or shallow ones. You can decide. I like the steep ones. Your profit is a lot of stacked steep lines minus all the ones that you lose on the way to getting there. That's how it works. Let's have a look at your comments before we say more. Chainlink, says somebody. 4-digit XRP is dreaming. Maybe someday first hit 2 digits. BTC conversations were similar a few years ago, I believe, without the utility. There's a big difference between BTC and XRP. The people are chatting the merits of fundamentals of different coins amongst each other, and so be it, if that be important to them. So what do we, this big move is good, and it's brought us off the floor and into the lower end range of that bigger funnel of the macro pattern that I showed you on the bigger time frame. Take a mental snapshot always on all the time frames. Go clickety click, take a snapshot. Have that photographic memory on your side so that you can see what I'm referring to. Note how much more volatile it is since you ran the target. Let's put that risk reward on Monero and show you how. Remember, what applies for Monero is by principle will apply to other tokens when we do this kind of thing. There's the long. What is the, if you got in on the entry, not claiming this, by the way, in any way, we were watching and observing, very focused on the precious metals markets at the moment. We'll be stacking a lot more precious metals after a magnificent run if it gets to 3,768, which, given we called that at 3.3 and we're now 3.7, probably means we've got a decent chance. That, by risk-reward ratio, is 10.6. Let's say you muffed it and you only made it a 10. You got in a tiny bit after and you maybe gave a bit of extra ticks, as you should do on your stop. Let's say you might have done that. That was what was the reward, and you would be out there and your capital returned, and you would be missing all this volatility of ups and downs and the absence of single-mindedness in this all. So kind of that's where we are on Monero. Let's talk about TOTAL3, which excludes Ethereum, which has been a laggard for a while and then got a bit going after another while. It's been a little bit stop-starty for Ethereum. Let's do TOTAL3 and show you what we're seeing. So TOTAL3 is having an interesting old time. Let's go fortnightly and show you that. There again was the magnificent run of 2020 up to 21, late 21, that we've not really seen since. This is how you're doing today. Let's take a look at this a little more. Let's also remember the amazing run of 2017. July, they only really started it then, so I don't even think you're getting the main move there. It's not enough history, but that was the bull market to end all bull markets, if you're lucky enough like me to be engaged in crypto during that period. So from the lows, the bottoms here to here. Now I want to highlight that this is the high, and we're going to put a tag on that. Let's put a flag on the high. Can we do it? Here we go. Price note. Let's put the magnet on so that we nail that top. 1.13 trillion. Now that got to 1.16 but didn't hold. That's at its highest point. You got to 1.16. So you can see this blue line that I'm highlighting you here. We are having a little bit of a challenge, but not forever, because this makes a cup and a saucer for some of you, an ascending triangle for others. There's many ways you can frame this. You can frame it like that, as an ascending triangle. You can highlight the more rounded bottom and the handle in here. So it's once, twice, 3 times. The small little dip that may follow the next break of this level could indeed be all your Christmases coming home. So for those that have said, but you said bull alt market, it is a bull alt market. It is a bullish alt market. It's a slow bull compared to that. You all want this straight up stuff. And so far you've been getting that. And you chase in near the highs because you chase momentum, because you don't have method. You're not an HVF trader. You use an RSI or an overbought or some other mathematical formula on price data that you think somehow is going to tell you what the future is going to be like, and the known lagging indicator. Instead of using patterns and volume that lead price outcomes, you choose lagging ones. or you listen to somebody else who's a leader who tells you about RSIs, OBVs, stochastics, and when he combines the MACD with the relative strength indicator, what awesome results he gets. You get misled. You get misled by the usual charlatanry that sometimes hides out in technical analysis. Every industry seems to have its proxy morons who buy into a belief system that is non-serving. In fact, it's the way of the world, I would argue. Most people are suffering under the whims of media manipulation and all forms of proxyisms that give them an illusion of control that they simply don't have. Known as an indicator, they give you the illusion as to understanding why something happened. It happened because the RSI went from 67 to 81. That's why my crypto sold off, he cried in vain anger and upset. But at least now he has a reason, and it'll happen again and again. So this was a broadening structure. It was a continuation. You should have known and expected that everybody apart from Ethereum and Bitcoin would be working its way up. Obviously, they also worked their way up, but this is the TOTAL3 chart that excludes them. You would have also been aware that over here, that would have been a breakout. That represented a breakout. Took a while. 1, 2, 3 candles. Remember, they're 2 weeks. That's 6 weeks before you got your pump. That's why if you are not in, you don't get to make the shekels. This has moved a nice breakout candle here, but then it's a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down. Tenuous conduct as it comes to the lip of the cup and handle on the TOTAL3. That's it. There's your cup and there's your handle, and we await the breaking out, possible return move, and further highs. And don't be surprised if it's ETF announcements for XRP or Solana or whatever. There'll be fundamental news. Some of you are more aware of that than me. I see what the money shows me is being treated as relevant. We've been promised those things before without the fundamentals. When it happens, the chart will show it, the data will show it, the cheating insiders of the cacocracy will show it as they wail into the last moment. Yes, USD JPY looking choppy. We were discussing that in community as well. Thank you for all you do. Pleasure, Justin. Thank you. XRP pre-mined. Yep. Lots of discussion about all of that. So that is why TOTAL3 at the moment could just have a little bit of resistance. It might have a small dip, but the big action is not far away. And I typically see a break, a return move. You could have a bit of chop, and then you cut new territory and expect the big status coins to be the bigger winners. You will have 1 or 2 lesser coins that will do bigger percentages part of the time, but the safest play is the liquidity. Remember, you had Apple at 200 billion market cap at one point. You had Microsoft at 200 billion market cap at one point. You had Nvidia at 50 billion market cap at one point. You back the big chosen one status winners for the liquidity and the continued status support that will take them to new highs. Penny stock hunting for the cheapest crypto that's yet to move on the assumed basis that it will move. There will be a sorting of the wheat from the chaff. And I can tell you the ones the government have chosen will do well, and the ones that the government hasn't chosen will not do as well. We have a special question from Niven Cross Sleep. Niven, how's it going? Thank you for your super chat, $4.99. We appreciate you. Any update on chillers? So given his generosity, we're going to pivot to chillers on the way, and we are concluded with a TOTAL3 warning as to why there could just be a bit of churn, but the big move could be breaking not too far off here. Remember, dollar is wrecked. People will keep calling bottoms because it's been that way for a long time. The debt-based system end of cycle is a far larger macro trend for which there is very little the dollar can do to recover. It will run for longer than you think. And that is my take. Crypto. Let's stay with crypto. Which is the best? Which is the best? Bitaza. Oh, why is that Thai baht? What are you talking? Let's try get a dollar there. THS, USD. Good old Bitstamp. Ooh, not so good. Niven Crosssleep, my friend. There are other tokens that are receiving far greater love at this point in time. There are other tokens that are receiving far greater love at this point in time. So I spend a lot of time talking to very committed believers on individual crypto tokens. I often end up, I know someone in Rune who's sure that it was going to be the big thing. I know someone in something else. Once people have bought into something, they've latched on. And I know about the story on this one. I think it's Barcelona Football Club and Liverpool and these tokens and that and all of these great things. Everybody's like, wow. Listen, you may have, it's not all bad news. You may have a little squeeze with a little gap break for some upside follow through. But I am telling you, this is a little pippy on a very fat belly here of downside. A big fat slab of lard belly and a little pippy. It's just not getting the girls out of their chairs right now. This is relatively underwhelming in terms of its performance and its degree of bite. You're not finding yourself a girlfriend with that. You're deemed under-equipped, a relative underperformer on the macro. Why? Because it hasn't found a bid. Listen, it can suddenly, and that can change, but run with the early runners. This is the hardest thing that most people will not do. Run with the early runners, stay with them. Okay. So I hope that helps. Quite a bit of metaphor in there for the ladies, especially. I know they appreciate it. Actually, I don't. I suspect they don't. But nonetheless, it's a metaphor. It's some fun. We want to laugh and giggle. And we are childish that way. You know, we miss us. That's the one bit we miss about school. Or some of us. Anyway, so Tron far better, and again the grind up of Tron. We do cover this fairly often. We'll do it on without the T and get the longer history, and we will then take it on Binance. There you go. This is a squeeze up with an upside bias. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm very bullish this, nothing changes. And the key thing about this is that it's a macro situation. This is funneling. It's just got an upward grind. If you divide this by a number that is being compounded so that you square it up, it's got an upside squeeze. Everyone will go, but rising wedge means smash down. No. Context. You need to understand context. That's why you can't have these absolute rules. Someone will say 70%. I saw a Gareth Holloway, 70% of rising wedges break to the downside. No, you can't say that. You need to understand the context within that happening. And the context of this happening is, I will give you 70% plus that this breaks out the top on this one in quite some way. This is your funneling period, and you got your high 3 there, even though it is higher than your high 2, because this has a positive deflation, or should I say it's a negative token. They are actually dispersing more. They are burning, or they are reallocating for those that hold more. This is your squeeze up, and this is the quiet bit. You literally have had once, twice, 3 times a lady. You should view it like this, just divide it by whatever, 1.2 compounded 10 times, and you have this. And this is very low volatility during this period, which was a dull period. Plus, it held up incredibly well here. We've done this. Tron, thank you for your $10. It was AA. I hope it's not Alcoholics Anonymous, but good luck with not stay on the wagon if it is. We appreciate your kindness and your question. And you're in probably one of the safest to the downside tokens as well when the market gets a bit ugly and skittish. So you actually have less downside beta exposure with this token, in my overall opinion. Look, since this high of the 2021 high, you went down to there, and then all you've done is grind up at minimum. Now, you haven't done any major moons either, whilst others, for example, XRP, with a little bit of that SEC vibes and story, and the not participating as much in the previous bull market, that had a super surge, and we were in that. But then you come back and you convert it back into Tron. This is a hammer right here. So it dipped down and it came straight back up. This is a buy the dips token. Generally, every time it dips, we're on a monthly here. It's a big one. I want all the history since 18. But anytime it has a sell-off, it's a buy the dips token. Let me switch the eye off so you can just, no, don't go away. Come back. Just the eye, please. Take off the eye, the eye, the eye. My eyes are mince pies. Yeah. So this is anytime you dip token, like here, great entries, great entries, great entries, great entries, decent entry, hammer, 2 of them, decent entries. You never traded below that. You're on a wick of a hammer on the monthly time frame on Tron. These are unbelievable entries, obviously further back. And then you got a hammer here, great entry. Hammer here, great entry. Low wick on a dip here. Big rejection there. It did run with XRP. That was the XRP run, and then it got put back. Based out. Buy the lower wicks, buy the lower wicks. Quite a hammer here. Quite a hammer here. Continued drift up towards the 50-cent mark. This is a very safe investment hold and collateral for a tiny bit of occasional leverage trading. If you know what you're doing, if you understand HVF method, if you have a community for which you've shared your ideas of what you want to do, and you've had it stress test by others with trade leaders and friends, not just the guy with the efficient hairstyle, the other people that have learned from him, that are working in the community to help support other winners and also want to take community trades and are guiding and talking and sharing on a non-advisory basis in a community of the willing, where everybody is doing the same thing and it's all about the HVF. No one comes in and starts talking, let's trade pivots and Bollinger Band bounces. It doesn't go on. Focused specifically on doing one thing well. Yeah, that's the difference between the paramedic and the brain surgeon. General versus specifically focusedly trained on brain surgery. Yeah, that's why he gets remunerated more. That's why you will get, through your own progress in time, remunerated more. The market will give to you as per your wisdom and your methodology and the reduction of your emotionality. This is a great investment token, AA. You're in the right place. Keep on keeping on, keep hanging on. Okay, list of ISO 2002 are status tokens. Yes, that's quite right, Dutch Libertarian. You are on it. Yeah, so that is what we wanted to talk to you about predominantly. I don't want to stream forever. I want to keep you guys, I want to be, respectful of your time. It's 47 minutes. There's 365 of you watching. I will do Bitcoin just because it's a foundational one, and we need it not to die, whilst keeping an eye on the collapse in the dollar, which is best measured, by the way, best measured by gold. Quick gold check for all of you guys. Whoops, 3,683 on a monthly. Way, little bit of a shooting star today. You went a tiny bit higher. You were at 3,703, back at 3,683. So let's go Bitcoin. Stamp. So we've done some draws for you and we spoke and we said it's going to be unspectacular grind back up into range. Do you recall that? Is he being honest or is he lying? Always keep a man honest. It's okay if he's being dishonest. The man said it's not going to be a rip. You're going to support on 108 and you're going to do a fairly slow grind back into the range. And he also said you may pause at the splitter on the megaphone. He said that too. Yes, he did. I recall it quite well. You can go and double check. The video will still be up there. And what has happened as you met the splitter On the megaphone, what has happened? You met it on that, we're on the daily, you met it on that day over there, and today you have had 1, 2, 3, 4 small red candles since. So since meeting the splitter on the megaphone, you think this stuff is random. You think we just guess lucky in advance. On balance of probabilities, we have a much higher hit rate on something that is random, supposedly random, than anyone else. We said, watch the video, the previous YouTube. What could happen? A pullback here on the splitter is exactly what's going on. A slow grind back into range. Is that an exciting move to the upside by Bitcoin? You don't top. A previous video, Vandal said it, and I put it in the heading because it's such a true statement. You don't top on this low interest in Bitcoin. There's no interest in Bitcoin. There's none right now. Crypto is not hot. Even gold's not really being talked about that much outside of Goldie Bugs and people in the financial spaces, and it's not being spoken about that much, but it's getting more interest and more headlines than crypto. Crypto cannot top on this amount of low interest, in my opinion. And that's why we borrowed Vandal's phrase, and we said, don't forget to give him a follow as well. The Black Swan guys always talking sense, typically, and also Rupert of All in Crypto. Good guys with good intentions. So this is a pause period and pullback period. And because it's slightly down, you're probably finding it's a bit heavier for the likes of Ethereum that started to get away and then is also pulled down. And of course, being slightly higher beta, 1, 2, 3, 4 days down. That's because Bitcoin is not going up. Rounded bottom, but this is quite a steep revisit. Ethereum is particularly dull, I would say, on here, but I don't believe this is a top. It's just dull. XRP is better. XRP is better. So let's show you that, because we said and we mentioned it in the headline. So we don't do clickbait. If you want to mention it, you must do it. XRP 2 days down, but it also had a shooting star there. And we said to you then at the time, it's a falling wedge. I don't think it's going to have. Key moment, what did we say? On balance of probabilities, just like the Bitcoin, we said it's a falling wedge. I don't think it has the momentum to run this new high. You're going to come just back into the range being the high, the low. You're going to work and worm your way back somewhere into the middle. That's what's happening. And the slightly shooting star, it's a little bit not quite. You got quite a reasonable lower leg, followed through with 2 off days, but a little bit firmer now today. So less bad than ETH. But this kind of price behavior is not high excitement. It is building for some upside in the future, in my view, unless we get a major, how do we be wrong? Major demand destroying event, which is indeed probability season, that has a higher than usual. That could mean instead of being 1%, it's 15%. Doesn't mean it has to happen. So if you get that, then there's possibility you could even run this low. But that is a falling wedge where you've had a breakout and you're having a little bit of a return move. You're getting a little bit of basement. It's not an upside HVF. Note there's not that much current HVF action on the lower time frames, the dailies, the 4 hours on crypto. Not. Apart from that Monero bottom that we showed you, the squeeze that bumped it back into raise and run that target. That was your one, little medium time, slow, small time frame type setup where you could nick a few dimes and bucks. You could have done it. Not much HVF setup. Means not overly bullish for me. It means grind, listing moderately up, a little bit off at key levels. And that's exactly what you got. It's exactly what you got. If we do XLM, which is its buddy in crime, you will see it too. And it is, we are waiting. And I think gold is stealing a lot of the news here. So again, you can see falling wedge, break, return, move. A soft break, spinning top, 2 down days, also getting a rest. There's your falling wedge break. It's not a ripper. This doesn't have the bat out of hell momentum that just straight out to a new high. So I think we're going to wind up and down. We need to consolidate in this range. What does it mean? For trading on medium and higher time frames, for me at an HVF level, crypto is not going to be especially interesting. We took a little bit of recovery action on ETH on this rounded bottom, and we chose XRP over XLM. And it's tough making money. You made a little bit here, and then it's taking back a little bit. You're bobbing in and out of red into a little bit of green, and you're not really moving on. And the funding cost is working against you. It's not a great trading market, with the exception of Monero. And with Monero, we remind you of the bigger picture. So right now, it is mildly upward drift into range. That's it on most of the majors. That's it. It's not that great. We did mention Sol, so we must have a look at Sol for you. You can have a look also at those market caps, the 7-day performance. And this is exactly what we mean. 7 full days, and the performances are 2%, 3%. There's a couple of 9s over a week. It's not actually for crypto that spectacular. 2%, 1%, 1%, 3%. You know, AVAX has done the best of the lot so far, but it's not a great trading market. It's not like, oh, I'm missing out. I really should be getting more leverage long in here. I would actually say you do more damage in this market until we get a bigger time frame set up to break out of range, and that comes. So make your money on gold, silver, and platinum. Be flexible or sit on your hands and do no damage would be what I'd say to myself on a non-advisory basis for everybody else. So let's have a look at that Sol. What say the boys? Thank you, Sniper from Communist Canada, doozy big. Better from Sol. We've mentioned this last time. It's actually on against the dollar. It's recently had such a good little surge there. That's a squeeze, by the way. And that was your trade. We're now arriving late and you're getting these pullback days. That's that. But you were looking for it. See that rising wedge? Another situation where you have a breakout to the upside. You've got to know the context of the macro. We can do a double check on Bitcoin dominance as well. We continue to expect it to fade, but during this slightly 3 days, 4 days of softness, it could have had a bit of recovery. You see the recovery. So it's going to be largely down. Why? Because we warned you this would happen. You've got the key levels of significance. We had these lines long before it came down here, guys, just like those ones there. Look at this. This is heavy funneled lines. And what happens? Churn and pullback. It's not a great time to be in the market. You want that part all the way down to there. That's what you want. That's when things are happening for you. That's when your alts are running and Bitcoin's doing okay. You don't want the churn. Churn, break, return move, chop and churn at the 58 and the 57.63. Confluences of levels. If you get away from here, which eventually you will to the downside, in my opinion and view, it's a long way to 53. You're going to make hay. It's coming. Your bus is stuck, but it's on its way. Be patient. Don't try to force it. You're not going to make shekels if you're trying to force it when you're at this level. If this turns, a little bit of a shooting star, by the way, showing that it's losing momentum, the relative performance of Bitcoin to the altcoin market. As a result, if you come back down, you take that level, and then you set up some nice structure for downside, you could be away to the races. Could be an HVF, it could be an upside flag. You've been grinding a little bit lower here. This wanted to be, that was a rising wedge. You broke down, but now you're getting a return move to that wedge. Let me draw it nicely instead of like a 5-year-old. Break, return, move. Still dealing with these levels. If that turns around and comes back down, once you've run the low, you're going to have open territory. Nice. 57 to 53. Sounds like it's not a big number. That's open territory. That's like when you took your Belgian Malamute that's been locked up indoors in a box, and you take him into a big open field and you lift that flap, and out he comes bulleting out of there. And he starts jumping 19 feet high and 30 meters long. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen for your alts there. It's coming around the mountain when she comes. Yep, it's coming around the mountain when she comes. Okay, so watch for this on a downturn. Smart people that think the sniper's not an entire fool may actually think, what if he's right? Let's put some alerts on that. What if he's right? Let's put some alerts. It costs nothing. It costs nothing and notifies you of something. You get it? Little top tip. Lots of top tips today, all for free. All for free. You don't have to pay anything. And those that want to, this week, you need a booked and a paid. Non-refundable. But you can have a chat with me about whatever it is you want to talk about on a non-advisory basis. We getting the inquiries. So that's for those people that it is. And it will count towards any products if you choose to take any. We will give you 100% credit for 10 days after that call. And the call can be booked even next week. But the offer is only till Friday of this day. That's it, guys. That's all I've got for you. Thank you for your subscriptions, liking, watching, and subscribing. 349. Where's all our Crypto Sniper subscribers gone? 349. What happened to you all? Did I upset you all? Did I hurt your feelings? Did I hurt your feelings? I'm real sorry about that. Listen, we're glad to see you. Keep sharing, help us grow. We'll do more off-the-cuff jump-ons. But I must serve the community first, as ever and always. So I will be going off to do that and consider the world. Thank you for all that you do. And sharing and liking is the usual nag shit that these YouTubers do. But it does work, apparently. You can also leave a comment for the algo, say nice haircut or something. I don't mind. We do read the comments, by the way. We read the comments and we often reply. Until next time, I will catch you later. Crypto, boring generally. Monero is on path for that big move, but not yet. Mild grinding up. Reaction Bitcoin at the splitter as we warned. Everything a little bit back up, but a little bit back down. Not part of the news. It's not a top. It can't be a top. That's good news. Yay, good news. And also, when you let go of the 58, 57, you're going to 53 in short succession, which is likely to be great for your alts. So you just have to keep the faith. So we're trying to encourage you a little bit as well, in our opinion, on balance of probabilities on a non-advisory basis as ever. Till next time, I catch you later. Bye for now.